Hello and welcome to episode 122. I'm your host, Jenny, and today the show is all about mine and Asher's trip report from our trip we took at the end of July, beginning of August. This is Disney Travel Tales, a trip report show helping you to become an expert at navigating your next Disney vacation. Join me every Friday for all things Disney related. Not traveling to Disney anytime soon? Never fear, we are still the show for you. Sit back, relax, and immerse yourself in someone else's trip. All the joy, none of the stress. All right, if you're ready, let's get to today's show. Asher, thanks for coming on the show today and talking with me about our pretty amazing, very short trip to Disney World.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about it.
So our trip was July 30th to August 2nd. Our original trip was just going to be July 31st to August 2nd, but about a few weeks before, I decided to go ahead and just book an evening flight for the 30th, just so we didn't have to deal with weather since the 31st was actually our first park day. I just was worried that there might be delays and we might get to Orlando late. So we flew out of Austin. We flew Southwest. Our flight left around 3:30. It was on time. It was not delayed. And we landed in Orlando around 6:20 Eastern time. It was an easy flight. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
One of the new things that I did this trip that I've never done before is rented a car. So after we got off the plane, we rode the little airport trolley over to the main airport area. We just went downstairs to where people go to get baggage claim, stopped at the Enterprise desk. There was no one in line. It ended up getting a long line after we got in line, but we walked right up, got our car. It was so easy, like very seamless. The renting a car situation in Orlando was just really easy and nice because the rental cars are just right there at the airport. So it's not like you have to ride a tram to a different area like at some other airports. So we got our car. We just rented a small car and we walked out of the airport and discovered it was raining. Our plan for this evening was we weren't sure. At first, I thought we might go to Disney Springs, and then I thought we might just go straight to our resort. This night, we were staying at the All-Star Music Resort in a family room. So we decided to go to Disney Springs because Asher was hungry, and we thought it would just be fun instead of just going straight to the hotel room. So this was my first time driving in Orlando. It was fine. I mean, I'm used to traffic and crazy driving here in Texas, but the bad thing is it was pouring down rain and it was dark. In this car, we just rented like a small compact car. It had no back wipers, so it was actually kind of hard for me to see out of the car. My plan, in my maps, I just put Disney Springs, but I really wanted to park in the Lime Garage. Well, the map just took us straight to the Orange Garage. I've never driven to Disney Springs before, so I'm unfamiliar with the parking and everything. So we get to the Orange Garage, and I'm like, no, I want to park in the Lime Garage. It's closer to everything. So we take a pretty long detour all the way around Old Key West, Saratoga Springs, back all the way to the front of Disney Springs to get to the Lime Garage. And ultimately, we found out we could have just parked at the Orange Garage. There were a lot of people at Disney Springs. Like, it was packed. There was hardly any parking. Getting through security took a while. It was just kind of surprising how many people were there, and it is pouring down rain. So one of the reasons we wanted to come to Disney Springs is to eat at Chicken Guy because Asher loves chicken strips, chicken sandwiches. It's like his favorite meal, right?
Yes.
And so we are trying to look for Chicken Guy. Put it in my map to like walk. It keeps taking us to a place that is non-existent, like a pathway to where you go to the buses. So we're kind of walking in circles. It's again pouring down rain, but we finally make it to Chicken Guy, and I think it was confused because Chicken Guy is under construction, so the whole front of it is blocked off. But we got there, and Asher, what did you order?
I don't remember exactly, but it was like a chicken sandwich. I had like macaroni, uh, bacon. I had bacon on it, and then I had like a buffalo sauce with a garlic parmesan sauce on it too.
I just ordered the original chicken sandwich, and the food was really good, didn't you think?
Yeah, it was really good.
This restaurant was packed. We ordered, probably waited like 10 minutes for our food. All the seats were taken, but luckily, right before we got our food, this family got up, so we got to take their seats. And this was a fun meal. After we ate, we went over to World of Disney and walked around a little bit. We didn't buy anything. We didn't see anything we wanted. My daughter really wanted those cute ears where you make with the character heads. I thought that was at World of Disney. I was wrong. It was not there. But at this point, we were tired. It was after 9 o'clock. It was still pouring down rain. So we just decided to leave. So we went back to the car and drove over to All Star Music, where our room obviously was ready because, again, it is late. And one of the things I found out about All Star Music is you can literally park right outside your room. We were in the Calypso section on a bottom floor, which I had requested. I just wanted to not have to deal with elevators and stairs for just one night. And we parked probably like a 5-minute walk from our room. By the time we got to the resort, the rain had kind of stopped. It was like drizzly, but it wasn't too bad. And we went to our room and dropped off our stuff. I'm going to do a separate episode where I talk more about All Star Music in our room, but I will just say here, this family room is so nice. Asher, what was your first impressions of the family room?
My first impression was that the door wouldn't close right away. Later, we realized we were in a handicap room because right as you open the door, you couldn't pull it to close it. It would just slowly go behind you. But the room was nice. They had, what was my bed called? I don't know. It just pulled down.
Murphy bed.
A Murphy bed? Yeah, that thing. Just kind of pulled down, which was, it wasn't too bad. It was pretty comfortable. And then I had my own bathroom, which was nice. But I accidentally turned a light on and I didn't know how to turn it off. So I basically just slept with a light on the whole night and I didn't get the best sleep.
Yeah, there was like a little light over the bed, and I woke up the next morning and he had the light on, and I thought, well, maybe he just wanted to keep the light on because in a family room, it has a separate bedroom. So I slept in the separate bedroom. Well, come to find out, he didn't know how to turn the light off, yet there was literally just a switch up there. So after we dropped our stuff off, we decided to go over to the lobby and go into just kind of check out the resort, go to the gift shop. Asher wanted a magic band. I had not ordered him a magic band. And so I didn't know if he wanted one. We just kind of went and checked everything out. We did not get any food, right? Yeah, we didn't. So we get over to the lobby. The gift shop at All Star Music is really nice. It's quite large, which I appreciate because I do love a good gift shop. I went and got Asher a magic band. I got us some bottled waters, and I got a pin because at every resort I stay at, I like to get a pin. One thing with the All Star pin is it's all the All Star resorts in one. But it's a pretty cute pin. And then we discovered the arcade, which you were pretty excited about, right?
Yeah, I was.
We stopped in the arcade. What games did you play?
I don't remember fully, but I basically played all the games that were there. We did the basketball. We did like the fishing game. It had like a reel. I'm trying to think. Air hockey, yeah, and then like a driving game.
Asher really wanted to play Golden Tee, but there were some adults playing it, and we waited. How long do you think we spent in the arcade?
We ended up waiting probably about just 30 minutes, and then we just decided to leave because it was getting late. We were tired, and we don't want to wait anymore.
But I do think the arcade's really fun. The last time we went to Disney, it was still in COVID times, and so the arcade was closed. Asher loves a good arcade. All of my kids actually love the arcade. And so this was really fun. We just bought a little card at the beginning. I put $20 on it. We did not spend all of the card. I actually still have it, so I'm wondering when I go back if it will work. We had thought about using it at the Polynesian, our second resort, but never got around to it. Overall, we had a great time. It was a really fun time to spend the evening, but it was getting late. And I kept telling Asher, we are waking up early tomorrow because it's our first park day and we're going to go, go, go. So we went back to the room. We got ready for bed. I packed up my park bag. I double checked all the lightning lanes, kind of made a plan for everything, made sure we were checked into the Poly. And I think it was like midnight before we went to sleep, wasn't it?
Yeah, we ended up going to sleep pretty late, which sucked because we had to wake up early the next day.
Yes, which I had warned you about. So I set my alarm for 7 so I would be up and ready to go. I was not getting in a virtual queue this morning. I already had purchased Lightning Lane Multipass and I had rides lined up for the day. So I got up, I got dressed, I made some coffee in the room. This was the really nice thing about the family room is I could go in the bathroom and use it and get dressed. I had my own space. I had a coffee pot that I could make coffee and not wake Asher up at all. So after I got done getting dressed, I went ahead and mobile ordered some food from the food court. I ordered a couple of Mickey waffles and some bacon, and I think that was all I ordered. I went and picked that up, came back, woke Asher up, gave him the food, and said, you need to get dressed and eat, and I'm going to walk around this resort so I could take some pictures and videos and just kind of explore it. Since it was new, I really like to get an idea of what the resorts are like, especially for clients. I have a client traveling here in November, and I wanted to get all the information I could for them. So I left. I was gone probably about 30 minutes. I came back and Asher was pretty much ready to go. We packed up our stuff, which was pretty simple because, again, we were really barely at this resort, and got in the car. We actually decided to drive over to the All-Star Sports Resort because this was the resort we stayed at for our very first Disney trip ever, and Asher really wanted to stay at this resort. However, I like to stay at new resorts just so I can get a feel for them. So I told him that we would visit it. So we drove over there. All-Star Music is right between All-Star Movies and All-Star Sports. Like, they are walking distance to each other, which is actually pretty cool. Where we were staying at All-Star Music, we could see the All-Star Movies. I think it was the Mighty Ducks section, which was like a hockey section. I was actually confused. I was like, how is this All-Star Sports? But it was movies. So then we drove to the other side of All-Star Music and parked by the baseball section of All-Star Sports and walked around, which was quite fun. Asher, what was your thoughts about returning to All-Star Sports like 10 years later?
I mean, it was pretty cool. Everything was a lot smaller than I remembered. I didn't remember too much because I was, what, 7, 8?
Grade.
So that's like 9 years old when we went. But yeah, it was cool. One thing I did notice last time was all the flags out each area with different teams. Like on the baseball, they had all the MLB teams, and on the football, they had a bunch of different college football teams. So that was cool to look at.
It was really fun. I actually enjoyed walking. There was nobody there though, right? It was deserted. It was kind of nice. But it was funny for him. We had stayed in the touchdown section, which is the football zone, and our room literally walked right out to it. And him and Aiden loved playing football with other kids there a couple of times while we were there. And it was just funny to hear him say, this is so much smaller than I remembered because he's so big now. So after we got done walking around, we got back in the car and drove to Animal Kingdom, which was very close to these resorts, which was nice. We pulled up to the turnstiles. I showed them my reservation to show that I didn't have to pay for parking, and in we went. We parked, which was very easy, and then started walking up to the park. Overall, this was great. Like having a car, driving to this park, parking, very easy, very good. It was a very hot morning. We got into the park and headed straight over to the Pandora area because that's where our first 2 rides were. We walked straight into Navi River Journey. It was a 35-minute wait, which is a pretty low wait for the park for this ride. And it was a walk-on for us because we had Lightning Lane multi-pass. As soon as we checked into this ride, I went ahead and pulled up the rides that were going to be available at Magic Kingdom because that's where we were going to be later in the day. And I grabbed us a Space Mountain for $5.10. Our plan was to do Animal Kingdom, head to the resort. Hopefully our room was going to be done, swim, hang out, and then head to Magic Kingdom later that evening. Asher, what did you think about Navi River Journey? Because this was your first time riding it. Hi, this is Jenny, just popping on with some exciting news. I've started a Facebook group just for you. I'm really excited about this because not only will this be a great opportunity to get to know each other, but this is also a safe space to talk all things Disney. Members can share travel tips, resort tips, likes and dislikes, and the best part is this will give you an opportunity to talk to the guest on the show and ask them questions about their trips. I was trying to think of a fun name for us, and Disney Travel Tales Podcast Clubhouse came to mind. This is a private group, and of course, I will not allow anyone to be bullied or talked down to. I just want this space to be positive and fun. Check the show notes for a link to join, or just search Disney Travel Tales Podcast Clubhouse in Facebook. I can't wait to see you over there.
I mean, I thought it was all right. I'm not a big, like, water kind of ride guy, but all the animatronics were cool.
We did get lucky, and the big main animatronic was actually working at the end. When Cameron and I went in January, it was not. It was just a screen, so that was fun. After Navi River Journey, we actually had some time before we had our flight of passage. When I was pre-scheduling these, I just wasn't sure how long things were going to take. And so I actually gave us a little bit too much time here, but that was fine. We went over and we took some pictures. I took some video around this area. We went to the gift shop and walked around. And then we went and got some of our favorite snacks in the park at the little drink section. We got the, what's it called? Night Blossom. We each got a Night Blossom drink, which is a really yummy frozen drink with some boba on top. And then I got the Ponga Lumpia, which is like a cream cheese pineapple spring roll, and it was very good. After this, we did Flight of Passage, which is one of your favorite rides.
Yeah, it actually is one of my favorite rides. Every time we get to go on it, I really enjoy it.
We had single pass rider. The wait for this was 65 minutes, and I think we waited 10 or 15. It was pretty quick. This is just one of the best rides. Was it as fun as you'd remembered it? Because it's been since 2021 since you rode it.
I don't remember too much from it last time, so I think this time it kind of felt like my first time on it, because in reality it was really my second time, but I didn't remember too much, so I thought it was pretty fun.
It was actually like your third time because we rode it twice on our last trip. But anyways,
My bad.
Same thing. After this, we started our trek over to Expedition Everest. The park was really not that busy. It was actually kind of nice walking around and taking in the views. We stopped and took pictures, looked around, and then we rode Everest with our multi-pass selection. The wait was 35 minutes, and it was a straight walk-on for us, which was fantastic. Thoughts on Everest?
I like Everest. It's always fun to go on it because I feel like at Disney, it's more of like one of the main types of like real roller coasters you'll find out there. My mom screams a lot on roller coasters, so it's,
We definitely had a good time. We debated doing the single rider line because it was really short, but Asher just wanted to move on with the day, so on we went. At this point, we still had an hour before our oh, and after we checked into this, I got on the app and got us a Big Thunder Mountain return time. I think it was like 6:20. So I was feeling like, yeah, Lightning Lane Multipass is working very well for us. Because it was. So at this point, we had about an hour until our dinosaur check-in. There was really nothing else we were going to do at Animal Kingdom. Asher didn't want to do the safari. We didn't want to do Kali River Rapids. It was kind of too early in the day to get soaking wet. He didn't really want to do the shows or the trails, and so I went ahead and modified our time and ended up getting Dinosaur about 30 minutes early than our original time, which was great. So we decided to just head over to Dino Land and play the carnival games, which I love playing these carnival games.
yeah, we always have fun playing carnival games. I ended up playing a basketball game. I missed the first two shots, but I made the third one to get a stuffed animal, and then we played a mouse, like hit the mouse every time they pop up. My mom beat me on that one by like 10 points, but I mean, we got another prize, so it wasn't that big of a deal. And then at that point, we used all our tickets.
The carnival games are really fun. You just go to a little booth and buy some tickets. I think I spent like $15, I think it was like $15 because we ended up getting two adorable little Triceratops stuffed animals. And so it was totally worth it. A fun game and nice little souvenir. We walked around a little bit. We saw some of my favorite characters are over in Dino Land, which I'm actually wondering when they turn this to Tropical Americas if they're still going to have these cute characters. They have Chip and Dale in their little dinosaur outfits, and they were just so cute. And then Donald and Daisy as well are adorable. We went over to Dinosaur. It had a 35-minute wait. We pretty much walked on. Well, we got to the area where the line merges after the pre-show, pretty much right up. I mean, like we walked straight into the pre-show. We got to that line, and this was our first little bit of luck. They needed a party of two, and that was us. So we got to skip ahead a lot of people and ride. So we literally did not wait for this ride. The only standing and waiting we did was during the pre-show. This is a really great tip. If you are a small party of two or even three, and you're traveling in the summer, you're going to get to skip a lot of lines because typically in the summer, it is large families going, extended families, groups of 10 and 15 people. And so being a party two really comes in handy quite often. Asher, what were your thoughts on Dinosaur? Because you had no idea what this ride was going into it.
When I first walked in, I was a little confused because it looked very old, like very like I'd probably say 90s, 2000s ish. And then when we got in for the little pre-show, whatever you call it, the recording was very old, and you could tell it was a little too bumpy for me. So like if people out there aren't too big of fans of bumpy and shaky rides, I do not recommend.
Yeah, I tried to warn you that it was going to be bumpy. It is very jerky, but again, they are changing this ride. So we had to ride it because it could be every time I go, I'm like, this could be the last time we ride it. So at this point, we were done with the park. Oh, and after we did Dinosaur, I grabbed us a Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin at Magic Kingdom for later in the day as well. So at this point, we were done with Animal Kingdom, and we were excited and ready to head over to the Polynesian and check out our room. We were staying club level at the Polynesian, and so, yeah, like we just wanted to go see what was up. This was around 11 o'clock. We walked through some more gift shops, so we pretty much did the big rides minus the safari at Animal Kingdom, and we're done before lunchtime, which was pretty cool. I had originally thought we'd eat lunch at this park. Asher wasn't really hungry at this time. He just kind of wanted a snack. So we stopped and grabbed some popcorn on the way out, and off we went. Walking back to the car was hot, wasn't it?
Yes, it was very hot. It was like midday at that point, so I mean, it was just beaming down with heat.
We once we got to the car, we were I had not got a text that our room was ready. We kind of didn't know what to do, so we decided to go back to Disney Springs. I had looked up where the store was where I could buy this headband for my daughter, so we knew Disney Spring was going to have a lot better food options for us at this time of day. I was really hoping it would not be busy since it was the middle of the day. So we just decided to head over there. And I forgot to mention, one of the reasons on the first night we had thought about going to Disney Springs was to see the drone show. And I think that's why so many people were at Disney Springs at night, was for the drone show, but because it was raining, it was canceled. Okay, back to this time of day. So we got to the car and decided to go to Disney Springs. So we got to Disney Springs. We parked in the Lime Garage again, which we should have parked in the Orange Garage. I kept making this mistake. Disney Springs was less busy than it was the night before, which was really nice. Asher was starving at this point. Like, he did not want to walk around and look for food. So we came down the escalator and Polite Pig was right there. I've always heard fantastic things about Polite Pig, so we decided just to go eat there. We walked right up and ordered. I ordered off the kids menu. I ordered the barbecue meatballs, and they were served with carrot sticks and apple juice, but I subbed the carrot sticks for French fries. My meal was delicious. The food was so good. I wasn't super hungry. It was really, really hot. I did not want a heavy meal at this point in the day. So this was just the perfect size for me, and the food was so good. Asher was starving. So Ash, what did you order?
I ended up ordering a prime brisket. It was really good. The French fries they also served with it was really good. But one thing I could tell about the brisket was I think they had like a sauce in the brisket, like actually cooked with.
It's hard for Texans to eat barbecue other places because the barbecue here in Texas is so good. But the food here was really good. Asher also had a jalapeno cornbread and slaw with his meal that I ate as well, because that's not really his jam. This was a great place to stop and eat. Service was great. Food was great. The ambiance of the place was great. We really enjoyed it. So after this, we headed over to the little store and bought Amelia her Pooh and Tigger ear headband, which was really fun. They have some really cute, Instagrammable spots to take pictures. There were a lot of people in here, but we really enjoyed this little shop. After that, we just decided to walk around Disney Springs and just spend some time here. So we went over to the M&M store. Asher made his own little M&M collection. We stopped at a candle store that was really neat, and their scents were tied into the different resorts and smells at the parks. And Asher got a candle that was like a Hawaii smell, which kind of resembled the Polynesian, which was where we were staying. The store was called Beau's Signature Candles. After that, I think we went over to Gideon's to see what that situation looked like. The line was crazy long. Asher had zero desire to deal with that. But you did want a cookie, so we were kind of walking around trying to figure out if we could get a dessert. Was there a good place? Kind of what he felt like. We didn't really find anything. So after walking around and just kind of enjoying our time, we headed back to the garage, went back to the car. The whole situation with parking at Disney Springs and all the just weird walkarounds you have to do to get through security, I highly recommend do not park in the Lime Garage. It was kind of a mess. But after we got to the car, I got a text that our room was ready at the Polynesian. We were really excited about that because it was early. It was before 3 o'clock, so we headed over that way. Driving from Disney Springs to Polynesian was very easy. They didn't have a lot of parking lots from what I could tell, so we just kind of parked in the main parking lot, more to the right side if you're facing the resort, and headed back to the Hawaii building because that's where our room was. When you stay at club level at the Polynesian, you have you're in this certain building, you're the only ones in that building, and you have to have a magic band to enter the building. When we got there, the door was open and there's a desk, a concierge desk, right when you walk in. So you don't go to the front of the regular hotel to check into your room. You just go straight back to this building and they handle it for you. They welcomed us. They were so nice. They connected our magic bands to our resorts. We grabbed they had cookies and chocolate covered pretzels and waters and sodas, and we grabbed all of that. They also had a special like pineapple Hawaiian juice to try. So we got some snacks, we got some waters, and went back to our room. We dropped our stuff off, and then we walked over to the club to see what it was like. Oh, we changed into our swimsuits because we were going to go swimming. So when we got to the club, it was just snack time. So the club has 4 different times. They have breakfast, snack, dinner service, and then a dessert service. When you stay club level, all the food in the club is included in the price of your room. So you just go up there as many times as you want, any time of day that you want, and help yourself with what's available. We made little trail mix bags. At this point in the day, it was like goldfish, trail mix, banana chips. They have beer and wine that's served all day, champagne. They had sodas, coffee. They had some fruit sitting out. It was really just snacks. Like it wasn't anything that would be a meal type at all. We grabbed some snacks and drinks and we headed to the pool. Asher, what was your impression of the pool?
I thought the pool was going to be really cold, so I started off by going to get in the hot tub, but then we ended up going down the slide, and I found out the pool wasn't cold at all.
The pool is really nice at the Polynesian. I've heard such great things about this pool. I was really excited to stay at this resort for this pool. One of the reasons I ultimately chose this resort was because Asher, his favorite park is Magic Kingdom. So I wanted to be close to Magic Kingdom with easy access to that park. But I also wanted to have a really fun pool. So it was crazy crowded. Like there was barely enough room to even get around the pool. The pool is also very shallow. Like I feel like it's more shallow than some of the other Disney property pools. Like when I stayed at the boardwalk, even the contemporary pool felt deeper. This pool is shallow. It has a 0 entrance, which was nice. But yeah, we got in the pool. The pool was very warm. It was almost like bath water. Asher did the hot tub for a little bit. That was way too hot. I don't know how you sat in there, but he did. But yeah, we went and did the slide. The line for the slide was so long and took forever. Something to note at Disney is when you go on the slides, there's not anyone up there monitoring anything. And so one of the problems we kind of ran into were kids would run up and just go get in the very front of the line. And no one really stopped. And they'd be like, that's my cousin up there, who was like literally first in line, and like 5 kids would go get in line. So the line took like probably 15 minutes just to go down the slide. What'd you think of the slide?
It was fun. It went quick. If you like fully lay down on your back, you would go pretty fast. And then when I landed, I got a bunch of water in my nose.
It was really dark and it was fun. I've heard a lot of like, this is the best slide. I don't agree with that. I still stand behind Riviera and Boardwalk have the best slides, but it was really fun. We only did it once though, because that line was ridiculous and it was really hot standing in line.
Also, when you're 6'5" like me, you could probably it's not the best option, but if you're a little shorter, then you're good.
So after we went down the slide, we hung out in the pool for a little bit. We went over to the 0 entry area, laid there for a little while. But you were tired and it was very crowded and hot. I would say we probably stayed at the pool about an hour though. Wouldn't you agree?
Maybe a little less, honestly, but it could have been an hour just based on how long the line was for the slide. And then we went back to the room and I took a nice nap.
Asher took a nap. I went to the club. I changed clothes. I got dressed kind of for our Magic Kingdom day. Then I went to the club and enjoyed some more snacks. The food was just so nice. And this club, where it's situated, has these big floor to ceiling, like taller than ceiling windows that face Magic Kingdom. You can see the bungalows, you can see the beach at the Poly, the Grand Floridian, the boats coming in and out. So I just got a drink, I got a plate of snacks, and just sat there and really enjoyed it. And it was so relaxing. I really loved staying club level. I would really recommend it. If you're traveling with someone who's going to want to enjoy the club and eat the food, Asher was not that person. Like, he had zero interest in the food at the club, anything like that. But if you were with someone who would really want to spend time up there and eat up there, I think staying club level is such a great option. Our room at the Poly was also really nice. It was just a standard room. We were on the bottom floor again. We had a little patio. One thing to keep in mind at the Poly is some of the buildings, the second floor does not have a balcony, so it's just windows. I wanted to make sure we had some kind of patio, so that's why I requested the first floor. And I did this request just through the My Disney Experience app chat feature, which was fantastic. And I got both of the requests that I made. So if you are wanting a certain room, just request it through your app or have your travel agent request it through your app as well. So I went back to the room. I finished getting ready. I woke Asher up and we were ready to head off to Magic Kingdom. After Asher got up and got changed and dressed, I think he showered, we went back to the club because it was going to be dinner service and checked out the food they had. Like the food options they had. They had meat and cheese. They had cheeseburger spring rolls, which I was so excited about because I love cheeseburger spring rolls. They also had some some braised short rib on a cheese cornbread, which was so delicious. They had some spiked punch that I tried. It was really good. Asher got a drink, a soda. We also, one of the things we did when we were staying club level is we stocked up on water. Every single time that we walked by the entryway, we grabbed water. Every time we went to the club, I grabbed water. I wanted to make sure that if he wasn't at least eating the food in the club, I was getting my money worth through bottled water. So this was a Wednesday, and because we were staying at a deluxe resort, we had extended evening hours. That's kind of why we just waited till later in the day to head over to Magic Kingdom. After we ate at the club, we were right next to the boat dock, so we just decided to take the boat over to Magic Kingdom. As we were walking over to the boat was pulling up, so we didn't even have to wait, which was pretty fantastic. We hopped on the boat and rode over to Magic Kingdom, which this was such a nice ride. I always love a good boat ride. We ended up getting to Magic Kingdom around 5:30. So we walked in and went straight over to Tomorrowland. We stopped at the Purple Wall, took some pictures, and we went and rode Space Mountain. We had our multi-pass for that, and it was pretty. We walked all the way through. It was an hour wait. A standby wait. We walked all the way through and got to the very back part where you get on the ride, like right away. Like we walked straight back. And then once we turned the corner to get in the zippy line where the line goes back and forth, they needed 2 people. And so they called us forward. So we really didn't have to wait at all to ride this, which was pretty exciting. Asher, Space Mountain is your favorite ride. Is it still your favorite ride after this trip?
It is not.
So what did you think about it?
Space Mountain?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was fun, honestly. One thing I did notice a little different was, or that I don't remember, is I didn't know there were 2 different tracks you could go on. So I'm pretty sure we ended up going on one I haven't gone on yet. And it was a little more, I would say, droppy and curvy, which I like.
Yeah, we had a great time. After Space Mountain, Asher was really hungry because he didn't love the club food, so we stopped and I got him a pretzel at the lunching pad. We walked around and took some pictures around the castle, and then we needed to head over to Big Thunder Mountain, but we had a little bit of time to spare, so we stopped and watched the new Country Bears show. Asher, What were your thoughts on the Country Bear show?
I mean, it was interesting, but it was all right.
I actually really liked the new show. I liked the old show. I thought it was just weird and kind of classic Disney, that weird classic Disney. But the new show is actually pretty great. They use a lot of new IPs, new songs that, the younger generation will recognize. And so I really enjoyed it. I think they did a great job redoing it. It's a lot of fun. You should definitely stop and see it the next time you are at Magic Kingdom. So after Country Bears, we headed over to Big Thunder, and Big Thunder had been down. I actually had received a multi-pass experience. So when you have a like a ride time for a ride that goes down, they will just send you a pass that you can use it on select rides. But I just wanted to use it on Big Thunder. I didn't want to waste it. So what we actually did is we went through this standby line because the lady at the front said the ride had just reopened and there was no wait. It was a walk-on for us. And then we went back through and we went through the multi-pass line. So we used our Magic Bands to go through and got to ride it again. And this time it was pretty close to a walk-on. Hey, it's Jenny just popping on real quick. Make sure to stay up to date with all things Disney news, all things Disney Universal cruising related by following me on Instagram at Disney Travel Tales. You can also find me on Facebook at Disney Travel Tales as well. If this episode is making you want to plan a Disney vacation, then I would love to help you. All of my services are completely free to my clients, so there really is no reason not to use a travel agent. Most people don't realize that when you go and book your own Disney vacation, you are already paying that travel agent fee. So why not take advantage of that and get all of those services that you're already going to be paying for? I would love to help you plan your next trip, so make sure to check the show notes for information on how to get in contact with me, my quote form, my email, and yeah, let's make 2024 the year you go to Disney. We love Big Thunder. Asher, thoughts on Big Thunder?
I think it's fun, but one of the things I realize is I feel like that's more of a roller coaster for younger kids because, like, I like kind of like fast roller coasters, and the older you get, like, the less exciting it is. So if you're like a kid, probably like 12 and under, it's really fun. But as you get older, I just don't feel the same about it.
Yeah, it is still, it's a classic. So after Big Thunder, we had some time before our Tron. We were kind of just waiting for that. So we went over and did Haunted Mansion. I love Haunted Mansion. It was a 13-minute wait, which means it's a walk-on, which it was. So that was really nice. After that, we walked up through Fantasyland, saw Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Asher wanted to do that, but we couldn't do that at this time. So we're still trying to wait for our Tron, and we went over and did the People Mover. I love the People Mover. It's one of my favorites. The line was crazy long, but of course with the People Mover, since it never really stops, I think we waited 15 minutes. We really didn't wait that long. It was fine. Sun was starting to go down at this point. People were really crowding around getting ready to see the fireworks. So yeah, we did People Mover. Asher, thoughts on People Mover?
I liked it because, first of all, it stopped a few times and it's like a really big car. And we stopped in the dark too, so I kind of got to close my eyes for a little bit because it was such a long day. So that was nice. It stopped like 3 different times, which I enjoyed. It's a long ride, just slow moving. I got to kick my feet out and just chill.
Yes, People Mover is great. It's so fun to go through Space Mountain. You didn't realize we were going through Space Mountain. I had to be like, we're going into Space Mountain now, which was pretty fun. After this, we went into Tron. I had scheduled Tron so that we could ride it at night because I knew the second time we were going to ride it would be during the day. Also, around 6 p.m., I forgot to mention, I went and got in the Tron virtual queue for extended evening hour guest, and I got us a comeback time, which was kind of exciting because the last time I went, I could not get us one. So we went over to Tron. We had a single pass. The line for the virtual queue was crazy long, like wrapped all the way up the top and around long. But with our pass, we just walked right up. We walked straight through. They didn't even do the pre-show for us in that little building. And we walked pretty close to almost getting on the ride. It was, I think we waited 10 minutes. It was the fastest I've ever gotten on Tron. I love Tron. I really wanted to get in the front row, but I didn't want to request the front row at this point just because I knew we were going to ride it again. I was like, maybe I'll wait because we got on so quick because they also, again, called for a party of 2, so we got to get on quicker. And I think we were in the middle. We were definitely in the middle, not the front or the back. Asher, let's talk about Tron. What'd you think? Since this was your first time riding it and you had no idea what to expect.
I thought it was a lot of fun because it was like a quick takeoff, and I like those kind of rides. And the way you're sitting, you're like locked in, and it's kind of like you're on a motorcycle almost. But it was a lot of fun when you get going. I wish it was longer, but people might complain about it then. But it was a lot of fun.
Tron is great. It is very intense thrill ride. But yeah, I always look over when I ride with people for the first time to see their reaction when they do that takeoff because it's fast, isn't it? So after this, I decided I wanted to watch the fireworks. I love the fireworks. Asher could care less about the fireworks, but I had made an executive decision that we were going to watch the fireworks, and it is right before the fireworks were going to start. So we walk back through around where Cosmic Rays is, kind of on the backside where the bridge is coming up. They hadn't closed that bridge yet. They do close that bridge where you cannot walk through. But we were standing on the side of the castle. Like, we had a fantastic spot, not a front view of the castle, but we had a good spot. So I start second guessing myself. I'm like, no, I want to be on the front so Asher can see it because he hasn't seen Disney fireworks since he was a little kid. So then we start trying to go find a spot on the front. That did not work. It was, just your typical Disney crazy crowds around fireworks. Everywhere that I wanted to stop, it was not a good spot. And I just turned and I looked. So then we went back to our original spot and it was taken. So at this point, there is no good spot to really get a good view of the fireworks. And I turn and I look at Asher and I'm like, Asher, what do you want to do? And what did you say?
Well, I really wanted to go back to the resort, but we ended up I wanted to ride a ride. I didn't just want to sit there and watch the fireworks because that was boring in my opinion. So we went to the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, right?
We went to Seven Dwarfs. It had a 60-minute wait and we just got in line. We ended up waiting, I think, only 45 minutes. It was still a pretty long wait. And while we were in there, the fireworks start going off. And let me just say, I've never been in a line for a ride like that when the fireworks were going off. It sounds like bombs are dropping. Like, it was very, very loud. I can see where that would be really kind of scary for small kids. So just keep that in mind. I don't think Seven Dwarfs is a good ride to ride if you have problems with like loud bomb sounding noises because it was extremely loud. But we got on Seven Dwarfs and got to ride it at night, which I always love. It was fun. Thoughts on Seven Dwarfs?
It was fun. I like it. I will say though, we did like 2 days later, we did ride it during the day and it's a lot more fun at night.
Yes. Nighttime is always more fun. After Seven Dwarfs, extended evening hours was starting and Asher was exhausted. Like, he was so tired. I was like, what other rides do you want to ride? He did not want to ride any other ride. Like, he wanted to leave. So we went and did the Buzz Lightyear spin. We used our multi-pass for it at this point, and I love Buzz Lightyear. Toy Story Mania is so much better, but Buzz Lightyear is still really fun. So, Asher, what do you think about Buzz Lightyear?
Not too great about it because you murdered me. So, but it was fun. I like games and rides like that.
I did murder you. I got the highest score I've ever gotten on a shooting game, I think. It was like, how much was my score?
I think it was like 46,000.
Well, then that's not the highest because I get higher on Toy Story Mania. But it was the highest I've ever gotten on that ride. I was killing it because for some reason this ride is so hard for me. But after Buzz, we walked through the park. I think you got more food. I think you got another pretzel. Oh no, we went to Cosmic Rays and you ate. And that's when we got the really good chicken tenders. I ended up eating some of your chicken tenders and we had to order more chicken tenders because they were so good. Like, I don't remember Cosmic Rays being this good, but it was delicious. The fries were really crispy. Food was good. So that was a nice little break. At this point, we were just kind of waiting for the big crowds to leave the park so that we could leave. This was the beginning of extended evening hours. Kind of the same thing happened when I went with Aiden to last summer. It's just really busy. Like, extended evening hours in the winter to me is such a better deal than extended evening hours in the summer. It was really crowded. Kind of same thing that happened with me and Aiden. I forgot to mention lightning had delayed the fireworks. And so that really cut into the time. So it was already getting late. I think it was like 10:30 at this point. Asher's ready to go. We just ate. So we decided to just head back to the resort. We go down. The line for the monorail was crazy long. Like, I can't even fathom how long this line was. So we look over at the boats and we're like, oh, that's not even that long. Let's go get in that line. We ended up waiting 30 minutes plus for the boats. It was long. Like, it could have been a 40-minute wait. I was so irritated. And at that point, we look up and there's no one on the monorail. Like, we could have easily stood in that really long monorail line and been back to the resort way before this freaking boat line. Something to keep in mind if you were staying at the Grand Floridian or the Polynesian, the boat runs for both of those. And there was only one boat running at this time, which I cannot imagine why they would only have one boat going to both of these resorts and back when these are huge resorts and it's extended evening hours. So your guests are going to be at this park. It was just a mess. Like, I have terrible transportation luck. I'm just cursed. But yeah, I was so excited to stay at the Poly to have these great transportation options. And honestly, it was just such a disappointment. It was probably one of the biggest disappointments about this resort is just the overall transportation experience. But we finally made it back to our room. It was like 11:30 at night when we finally got back and got into bed and called it a day. But our first day was really fun. It was a good success. We had a great morning at Animal Kingdom. We got to use lots of our multi-pass selections for the rides. And overall, I loved it. What do you think?
It was fun. It was a lot to do in one day. Probably our most packed day out of them all because we got in late, went to sleep late, and then we just basically spent all day. But it was overall pretty good.
Okay, day two. Day two, we slept in a little bit. We were going to start our day at Epcot. I woke up at 7. I got in the virtual queue to get us a Cosmic Rewind. I had already purchased a single pass for this ride, but it's my favorite ride. And I knew Asher was going to love this ride, so I wanted to make sure that we were going to get to ride it twice. So I was up at 7. I got the virtual queue. I started getting dressed. I went to the club and got some coffee and some breakfast. They had little egg omelets. They had Mickey waffles. They had churros. They had French toast sticks. Like, it was a great spread. They had oatmeal and cereals and stuff like that. So I sat there and I ate my breakfast. I grabbed some food to bring back to Asher. Got back to the room, woke him up. He got up, dressed, and ate. And then we decided to just walk over to the Ticket and Transportation Center to hop on the Epcot monorail. The Ticket and Transportation Center is a very close walk. I think it was a 10-minute walk from our room, which we're in the middle of the resort over there. We hopped on. We did have to get through security, which was kind of a long line, but we walked up, got on the Epcot monorail, and headed over to Epcot. We were there by 9:20. Our first lightning lane was at Spaceship Earth at 9:35. So we took some pictures and videos and hopped on Spaceship Earth. As soon as I checked into Spaceship Earth, I went to check what was available over at Hollywood Studios, and to my dismay, nothing was good was available at that point. Slinky Dog was gone, Rock and Roller Coaster was gone. So I went ahead and I think I grabbed a Smuggler's Run for later in the day because Asher had said he would want to ride that. Asher, what did you think about Spaceship Earth?
I thought it was that was the one in the giant ball, right? That one's it's like an old school like one you kind of have to go on when you go to the park because I mean it's just right there when you see it. It did break down a few times in there, but I do like it because they get to like interact with it, and at the end of the ride we got to go in and play like a few of what they thought were going to be like futuristic type stuff, and that was fun to do.
Yeah, we actually spent a lot of time in the game area and it was really fun. I'd only done that one other time, but Asher wanted to do it, so I was down for it. We had a Nemo and Friends lightning lane, but he did not want to ride that, so I modified that and I changed it to a Soarin'. So after Spaceship Earth, we went straight over to Soarin' and we rode that. We pretty much walked to the very back. Like there was a wait. I would think it was like a 40-minute wait for the ride at this point, and it's still pretty early in the morning, which I was surprised. But I think because Test Track is not there anymore, everyone's going over to Soarin'. We got on Soarin'. We waited 10 minutes maybe. It was quick. Asher, this was probably one of your most memorable experiences, right?
So yeah, while we got on the ride, there's this guy at the very end. I'm guessing it was like his first time or something because he just seemed very happy. He was laughing the whole time, like whoa! And I was like, buddy, we're just flying. So
did you like Soarin'?
I mean, kind of. It's not my favorite ride, but it's a ride I'll do. I wouldn't wait in like a 60-minute line for it though.
So after Soarin', we had to head over to our Cosmic Rewind lightning lane. Our virtual queue was later, but our lightning lane was up. So we went over there. It was a complete walk on to the pre-show. Like we walked straight back to the pre-show. Nobody was in line. No one was even in line for the virtual queue. And Epcot was very empty this day, which was so nice. Like overall, I think everyone was at Soarin' and Remy's probably. The rest of the park felt great. So we get back there. I told Asher, I really want to ride in the front row. But again, they're like, we need a party at 2. So I just said, fine. I'd rather ride right this second than have to wait for the front row because we probably cut like 8 people in front of us. So we get on the ride. And Asher, do you remember what song we got this time?
No, I really don't remember, but I know it was a good one. It wasn't September or the other one.
I really wanted September. It's the only song I've never gotten. I don't even think September will be my favorite. I just want it because I've never gotten it. But we got Disco Inferno, which I love Disco Inferno. I think it's really fun. Asher, what did you think about Cosmic Rewind?
I really like it. It's probably my new favorite ride. So it was a lot of fun, just the way you start off by going backwards and stuff. So it was good.
Did you like the whole music aspect of it?
I think the music aspect helped it out a lot. It felt very cool. I think more rides should do that.
Yeah, it's the best. After that, we decided to go in the big gift shop over there, and Asher got another souvenir. He got a stuffed Donald that he had been looking at for a long time. It's sitting on his bed now. It's so cute. I bought some stuff for some family members. I bought a shirt. Then I think we were hungry at that point. So I stopped and you were hungry. I got me a coffee from the Joffrey's that's right over there and Asher a pretzel. We sat and ate that. We walked through the whole new area that they have open. The Encanto show was about to start. Originally, I'd wanted to see the Encanto show, but honestly, it was so hot. I was like, yeah, I don't care about sitting here and watching this show, but that whole area is so nice. It's just so nice that Epcot is no longer under construction. It's so nice to walk around. There's lots of sitting area. I think in the cooler weather times, it'll be great. We went over and walked through Journey of Water with Moana. Asher, what did you think of Journey of Water?
It was like a cool little thing you got to do because there was like water spraying everywhere, and then you could like make water go up with your hands. So it was cool.
It was fun. This area was really crowded though, so I felt the crowds here, but the rest of Epcot was great. After that, our boarding group got called for Cosmic Rewind. So we headed back to Cosmic Rewind and got in line for our boarding group, our virtual queue. This line was a little bit longer. We did have to wait longer. We waited about 10 minutes before we got into the pre-show. You know, all the pre-show stuff. Get over to the line. I really was going to ask for first row, but ended up not because Asher's like, I want to just ride it and move on with the day. So we just got, I think we got 7th row, 6th or 7th row, which was fun. And this time we got One Way or Another, which is another great song. This might actually be my new favorite song on this ride. Which song did you like better?
One Way or Another.
Yeah, it was really fun. Again, loved the ride. Fantastic. I was sad that this was going to be the last time I got to ride it. I do want to also mention is that there was a really high chance of rain for this day, but as of now during the day, it was gorgeous outside, like sunny. It was really hot, but it was sunny and nice. So we were done with the front section of Epcot. We walked back to the World Showcase. We went to Mexico, and when in Mexico, which Asher hasn't done since he was real little, he didn't remember it at all. And we rode the Three Caballeros. What'd you think about that?
I thought it was very interesting. I feel like you gotta like really be a fan of that side of Disney to really enjoy the ride.
Did you enjoy it?
Not that much.
I love it. I think it's just nice to be in the air condition. Did you think the inside of the Mexico Pavilion was cool?
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, so that was fun. After that, we just kind of walked through the pavilions. We really didn't stop. We looked around, we took some pictures. Asher was getting really hungry for like some real food. So we were making our way back to Italy to see if the pizza window was open so Asher could get a piece of pizza. And we ended up stopping and seeing the Voices of Liberty. I really wanted to see them. I wanted Asher to get to see them. Plus it's indoors and air conditioning. So by the time we got there, it was... they were already singing, but it was still great. Did you enjoy the Voices of Liberty?
Yeah, I did. I thought they were very cool and very talented.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like we saw a fantastic show. They really went all out and it was so great. Highly recommend. Highly, highly recommend. After that, we stopped in Japan and Asher got a big shaved ice, which was good, right? Then we headed over to Italy where the pizza window was open and Asher got a piece of pepperoni pizza. And tell me about your pizza.
Probably the best pizza I've ever had in my life. It was absolutely amazing.
We had to sit at an outdoor table because if you just grab food, there's no indoor seating for you. I didn't want to schedule a lot of indoor seating for it, like dining reservations, because we were on such a short trip. I did not want to waste time dining. That would probably be one of the things you would have wanted to do. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah, like he wanted to go in restaurants and sit down and rest and stuff. And I just wanted to go. So we were kind of opposite travelers when it came to this. After the pizza, we just kept walking through, checking things out. My main goal for this day was to get over to France and get the ice cream sandwich with the brioche bun. Like that's why I hadn't ate at this point, because I wanted to make sure I had enough room to eat this ice cream sandwich. So we get to France and I go get my ice cream sandwich. It was absolutely delicious, worth the wait, worth everything. Like I loved it. I got vanilla ice cream with a caramel drizzle. They get a big brioche bun and they do it in a hot press, and it was so delicious. We walked around France into some of the stores, which I was so surprised that they have a lot of Disneyland Paris merchandise at the France pavilion. The last time when I was there in January, they did not have that. Now that I've been to Disneyland Paris and I saw all of that merchandise, it is there in the park. So if you are there and you want some Disneyland Paris merchandise, I say grab it. After that, we went to ride Remy's. Remy had a 45-minute wait, which is not long for Remy at all, but with the lightning lane, it was pretty much a walk-on. Asher, this was your first time riding Remy's. What'd you think?
It was all right, honestly. What probably wasn't one of my favorites. The thing I did like about it though was at the end they had like the smells of different things. It smelled like straight bread in my opinion, but it was interesting how they like kind of like interacted. You got sprayed with stuff as they like fake popped a bottle of champagne. So yeah.
It was fun. I love Remy's. After that, it was time for us to leave Epcot. So we walked over to the Skyliner station, got on the Skyliner. That's how we decided to head over to Hollywood Studios. I also forgot to mention, after we had done Soarin', I had grabbed us a Toy Story Mania Lightning Lane for way later in the day, like 7:30 p.m. But Asher was already telling me I do not want to stay at the park that late. So I went ahead around this time and I changed that Lightning Lane to a Mickey. I modified it to a Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. So we pretty much only had 2 rides to ride over at Hollywood Studios. And the plan was just stand in line for Slinky and stand in line for Toy Story Mania. I had looked at the wait times. They weren't terrible. Like Toy Story Mania was only a 30-minute wait. So I thought, this isn't going to be so bad. We can definitely handle this. The Skyliner ride was so nice over to Hollywood Studios. It's just a nice breezy ride. Asher, what'd you think of the Skyliner?
I really enjoyed it because it's like a little longer, so it gave me a little more time to rest. And once again, I could like stretch my legs and stuff.
Yeah, it was a nice little break. Once we got to Hollywood Studios, the weather started looking sketchy. I could see the clouds coming in. I just was like, let's get as much done that we can, while it's still sunny. So the first thing we did is we went and got in line for Toy Story Mania because there was only a 30-minute wait. However, either the ride broke down or they were wrong because we waited around 45 minutes. That was the longest line.
Yeah, it was freaking forever. What we were thinking about what happened was maybe it broke down a little bit and the people we got stuck by would just not move in the line either, which also didn't help out. They were just standing around.
Yeah, they just would stand and not pay attention, and it took a long time. Once we finally got up to the front, we had fun on the ride, and I lost, which I was devastated because I was beating Asher the entire time until the very end when you have to hit the plates. He murdered me.
Yeah, I was losing probably the whole way through until we got to the point where you had to have like quick hands for it, just going back and forth, and I kept hitting it and I got ahead of her. Didn't think I was going to beat her at the end, but I ended up beating her by like 1,000 or 2.
When we walked out of this ride, I checked the wait times and saw that Slinky was shut down, which I knew meant it was probably raining and lightning. So we get out of Toy Story Mania and it is pouring down rain. I put my poncho on. Asher didn't want a poncho. He wanted an umbrella. And we head over to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. I checked my, multi-pass options at this point. There was literally nothing. The only thing available was Alien Swirling Saucers and like Muppets 3D, which Asher did not want to do either. I think Star Tours was available. He didn't want to do that either. So we went and rode Mickey's Runaway Railway. The standby was 45 minutes. We probably waited 15 minutes before we got into the show with the Lightning Lane. I think the ride had broke down earlier in the day, and so people were just heading over there now to use their multi-pass experience, or just to use their Lightning Lane that they might have had earlier, because the Lightning Lane line was quite long. We ended up waiting, I think, a total of like 25 minutes for this ride, because even after the show, we had to stand in another line to get on the ride. But I love this ride. I think it's really fun and cute. My kids used to love Mickey shorts, and so it really reminds me of that. Ash, what did you think?
I actually liked it a lot. It was very interesting how like you enter in the pregame, so it was good.
When we went back in 2021, they weren't doing the pre-show, and so you just kind of hopped on the ride. So the pre-show just really helps it and makes much more sense. After this, when we left, it was legit pouring down rain, like flooding rain. Asher was trying to use his umbrella. The umbrella kept flying like inwards, so it wasn't even covering him. But our goal was just to get back to Smuggler's Run, do that, and leave. I was like, we cannot leave yet. It was still fairly early in the day. I wasn't ready to leave. I was hoping the rain would stop so that we could go ride Slinky. So we powered through. We made it back to Smuggler's. I'm like not even joking when I say it was flooded rain. The rain was coming down so hard. It was like ankle deep. We were soaking wet. I had a poncho on. I was still soaking wet. We got back to Smuggler's and they let us check in early. We were like 10 minutes early for our ride. They didn't even care. They're just like, come on in. We got through, walked all the way back to the show, like the pre-show area, and then got on the ride. There was a pretty large family in front of us that was not from here. They were Spanish speaking, so I'm not sure where they were from. And the mom kind of took initiative and she's like, there's 2 of you. And I said, yeah. And she's like, you go up here with them. So they put us with their kids, which this was quite the experience, wasn't it, Asher?
So yeah, honestly, I was kind of scared for my life because whenever we got in there and they assigned all the roles, me and my mom got put in the back. So I'm like, crap, they got to fly the ship now. So, and then like it just, as we got on, we started taking off. It just got bad because the person sitting in front of me who was supposed to be shooting the bad guys was taking selfies. And like, I didn't think I was going to be able to live. And I had to pee really bad too. So I wanted to live. We ended up costing like $7,000 in ship repairs or damage control, whatever. And then, yeah, it was glad I made it out alive.
It was pretty funny. They'd never done it before, obviously. They were just yelling at each other, crashing the ship. Like, if you were motion sickness prone, this would have been the worst ride ever for you. But it was fun. I actually really enjoyed it. After that, we left the ride. It is pouring down rain. So we decide to just leave. Asher's hungry. I'm hungry. It's pouring down rain. Oh, I forgot. After we rode Toy Story Mania, I'm sorry, I don't mean to skip around. We stopped at Woody's Lunchbox and we got the frozen drink and a Pop-Tart for like a little snack. The Pop-Tart, it was like the 4th of July seasonal Pop-Tart. It was good. It was a little bit dry, but overall it was fine. Okay, now we're leaving the park, pouring down rain. Like, I have the funniest videos of Asher trying to walk and the umbrella's like inverted. It was windy, rainy. We just wanted to get out of there. The only way back to our resort was minivan or bus. And it didn't seem like a lot of people were leaving the park. Like, most of the people were literally just hunkering down, sitting there. Like, nobody was leaving. So I thought, we'll just do the bus, not a big deal. We get over to our bus, and this is when I find out that not only does the Grand Floridian and Polynesian share a boat, they also share a bus. And there wasn't a lot of people in line. I would say there was probably 20, 30 people in front of us, which isn't much, maybe like 20 people in front of us. But they were lined up strange, which was weird. So we're waiting. And we're waiting. And we're waiting, and we're waiting, and we're waiting. And we waited 30 minutes on minimum for this bus. Like, every other resort had buses coming but us. Contemporary came 3 times. One of the ladies in front of us actually went over to that bus and asked the bus driver if we could ride it and just ride the monorail back to our resort. And that's when we found out the monorail was closed. I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous how long we waited for a bus. And then at the very end of waiting, a family comes up with a scooter. And so they go to the very front, and finally the bus shows up and they get to get on first. So if you are on a scooter and you're riding a Disney bus, they put you on first and they fold up seats. So that took away quite a few seats. Let's just say there were a lot of very mad people on this bus. A lot of screaming, crying children because it's still raining. We've been just standing there for like 30 minutes. I had gone ahead and mobile ordered me and Asher some food over at Captain Cook's. Actually, yes, I ordered both of us food over at Captain Cook's so that when we got back to our resort, we could just pick up our food and go to our room. But it was crazy. So we finally get on the bus. I sit down. Asher stands because he was letting other people sit down. And there's like dead stop traffic heading back to the resort. So this was probably definitely the worst part of the trip. Asher, would you like to share your side of this story?
So one part she didn't add about there being 20 to 30 people in front of us is there was no one else at any other line to go to any other resort. Everybody was in our line. And just the fact that it was raining, and on top of that, my phone died. So I had absolutely nothing to do. It would have been better if I had my phone, but no, that died. Then we finally get on. It's freaking packed. And they're not trying to call him out, but there's this kid in front of me just telling some of the worst jokes ever to his mom. And I'm just like, wow. Kids are screaming in the back, and we just got people everywhere just like messing with me, making me mad. Then we finally get back to the resort. We probably took like 20 minutes to get back in traffic and red lights, and I'm just sick of it. And then the bus driver asks me if there's because I'm standing right next to the door where the person in the scooter or wheelchair gets out. Then the bus driver asked me if there's enough room, and like I had no idea. I just said yes because I mean like there's no point in asking me out of anything. So yeah, overall just terrible experience on that bus ride. So yeah.
Yeah, it was a mess. Like this, I'm baffled when you're staying at either the Polynesian or the Grand Floridian, you're spending a lot of money on these rooms. And this transportation situation was awful. Just absolutely awful. Overall, the worst I've ever had at any resort ever. Awful. But we finally made it back. We went over to Captain Cook's and we picked up our food. I ordered myself the Thai coconut meatballs, and Asher got the pepperoni flatbread bread. We grabbed our food. We went back to our room. We took it to go. We stopped in the club and grabbed drinks for us to have while we ate. My food was delicious. The meatballs and the soup and the broth was so good. Asher, how was your pepperoni flatbread?
It was good, honestly. I mean, like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think nothing will ever compare to my freaking Italian pizza I had at that place, but it was good. It was a good little meal.
So it's around like 6:30 at this point. I had also wanted to, or no, it's actually closer to 7 because that took so long to get home. I had really wanted to watch the Olympics because they were still going on. And so we just hung out in the room. I went to the club. I got some desserts on a plate because it was dessert service. I got a glass of wine, Asher a drink, and we just came back to the room and we both laid in our beds. I watched the Olympics. He played on his phone. And then around this time, I decided that I really wanted to watch the fireworks. So I had thought the rain had stopped. I forgot to mention the desserts from the club were so good. They had macaroons. They had different cupcakes, really cute cupcakes with like little stitched chocolates on it. They had an ice cream sundae like station that if you were going to eat there, you could get. It was just really, really good. Like I loved the desserts. They had little fruit pies, mini pies and stuff. It was so much fun and fantastic. So right around the time the fireworks are going to start, Asher and I, our building was right by the beach. We go out to the beach. I really was like, maybe we should go in the club. We're standing right under the window at the club and nobody is there. And I thought the club would be packed full of people watching the fireworks because they pumped the music in there as well. But it wasn't. But we decided to just stay outside. There were a lot of people out there. It was really fun. Then the music just comes blaring so loud. And this was just a fun moment to watch the fireworks from the beach of the Polynesian with the music with just a small group of people compared to what you would deal with at the parks. And it was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. You can kind of see the projections. I mean, you can see lights on the castle, but it's mostly just the big fireworks. And it was so much fun. What'd you think, Ash?
I thought it was honestly pretty cool because we're at a resort. We don't really have to be at Magic Kingdom. You could hear the music perfectly. Like it was right there. And I like fireworks more at a distance than up close. And then during the middle of the fireworks, we just see this kid run across the sand like full speed. And I'm like, personally thought it was Spider Man. But yeah, I mean, fireworks were cool though.
It was really fun. We had a great time. Then we went back to our room, and we pretty much went to bed, like hung out. We didn't really do much. I finished watching the Olympics that were on for that day, and we went to sleep. I also packed up a little bit, but not a whole lot because I just didn't want to. Next morning, this was our last day. This was our Magic Kingdom day. I decided not to do any virtual queues this day because we just weren't going to have time since we had to leave to go to the airport. I forgot to mention the night before, after our experience over at Hollywood Studios with the lightning lanes and everything, I kind of started panicking. We had already rode Haunted Mansion, so I was like, I'm going to try to grab something else besides Haunted Mansion for our lightning lane. Our lightning lane was also at like 9:30. And I was like, I don't think Asher's going to want to go that early to check into that ride, yada, yada. So I tried to change it. I tried to change it to a 9 a.m. lightning lane on Dumbo. And it let me go all the way through. And then at the very end, when I'm trying to change it and I'm clicking to change it, it tells me that it's not available anymore. And it puts me at like 4 o'clock. And I'm like, I don't want a lightning lane at 4 o'clock because we might not even be there at 4 o'clock. I wanted an early one. So this was my earliest lightning lane and it just took it away from me. So this was kind of stressful and just kind of annoying, and ended up, I went to bed the night before and I'm just like, have no idea what the day is going to entail for us now. So we wake up, I go get dressed. I didn't do any virtual queues, like I said. I start packing up all my stuff. You know, since we were on a short trip, we didn't really have a ton of stuff, so that was easy. I got dressed. I went to the club. I grabbed breakfast. It was pretty much the same breakfast options. The breakfast was so good. It was probably my favorite thing at the club, minus the cheeseburger spring rolls. So we're dressed. I wake Asher up. I brought him food. He didn't really want to eat the food. He said he'd rather just eat over at the park. So we packed up our bags. We took all of our stuff to the car. When you stay club level, you still have access to the club all day, even on your checkout day. So that's just good to know. But we went to the car, we packed up our stuff. Then we went to the main building at the Polynesian. I wanted to stop in the gift shop and kind of see what they had because they have a fantastic gift shop. It is so, so good. I bought a pen and then I debated buying a sweater, but I didn't at this time. And then we decided to ride the monorail over to Magic Kingdom. When we got to Magic Kingdom, we had our first lightning lane at Pirates, so we went straight over there. It was a 35-minute wait, and it was a walk-on for us. This is when I discovered that the parks were crazy busy, like absolutely insane busy. So we rode Pirates. Asher, do you like Pirates?
No, I really don't like pirates.
I like Pirates. Do you like it a little bit?
No.
You liked the drop.
It was all right.
Oh my gosh. So we rode Pirates, and then after that, so after this, I was just trying to find like a lightning lane for us, and I actually ended up getting us another Space Mountain. I also had modified that Dumbo to a Monsters, Inc. laugh floor for later in the day as well. So at this point, we went over and we rode Seven Dwarfs. I had purchased a single rider, and so we went ahead and we rode that. Asher, like he said, prefers it at night. After that, we went over to Gaston's, and I got the creme brulee croissant, and we got a drink, which the creme brulee croissant is absolutely amazing. It was so, so good. We had a little bit of time to spare, so we went over and rode the train over. You can get on the train kind of back behind the Barnstormer, and we hopped on there and we rode it all the way around to where Tiana's is. You get off literally right where Tiana's Bayou Adventure is. I have never rode a Disney train. Like every single time I go to a Disney park, I'm like, I'm going to ride the train. And I finally got to ride the train. Asher, tell me about the train.
So the train, in my opinion, it could have been, it went very slow. I would have liked if the train went a little faster, but there was a bunch of little kids on it, so that's probably why. But the way we rode it, we basically went all around. We went to two of the three, there's three stops. We ended up going to two of them to get off. But, it was fun. It was just another part you could relax and not really have to worry about walking. Yeah, the train takes more time than walking, but it's nice being able to relax.
Then we went over to Tiana's. We had the multi-pass selection for Tiana's, and we pretty much walked on. Like we walked all the way to the very bottom. We got stuck with a family. Not got stuck. We got put with a family. It was a grandma and her like 4 grandkids, and they ended up. She was like, "I do not." They were in front of us, and she said, "I do not want to be in the front row." So they put us in the front row, which I was really nervous about. It was a nice hot day, so I didn't care about getting wet. Well, I didn't want to get too wet. Asher, tell me about Tiana's.
So I'm gonna backtrack a little bit back to the Pirates ride, the water ride. I go into this day wearing a white shirt. My mom's wearing a white skirt, so we did not plan correctly for this day. And we get on Tiana's, and there's like a bunch of dirt. My mom just sat in a bunch of dirt, basically. So that was funny. But the Tiana ride was fun. There's like 6 different drops before you get to the big drop, which it kind of leads all up. But, you just go in like circles and you're going all the way up. You go into this little area where it's like animatronics, kind of, I would say. And then there's like an outside too that it's a lot of fun. And then the drop's a lot of fun, especially if you're in the front, because you don't know when it's, you do know when it's going, but like the way you're like in a log. So it's so big in the front, you don't see yourself go down. So it made my stomach go, woo.
I love the changes they've made to this ride. It's beautiful. The animatronics are beautiful. I loved the music. Splash Mountain was just okay for me. I enjoyed it. But the one thing I love the most about this ride is it's really long. Like Asher thought the first time we went up, that was the big drop. And it's just a nice, fun, long ride. We got pretty wet, not too wet. Nothing to you need to wear a poncho about, but overall, great ride. After we checked into this, I went ahead and grabbed us a Speedway Lightning Lane because when we had been there a couple of days before, Asher mentioned he wanted to do Speedway, but we were also getting hungry. So he really wanted to get those chicken tenders again, and I wanted to get some tots over at Friar's Nook. So we walked over to Tomorrowland. We took some pictures and videos along the way. I mobile ordered him his Cosmic Rays. We went there. I kind of dropped him off. He got a table. I walked over to Friar's Nook. I had mobile ordered my food there. By the time I got there, it was ready. I picked it up. I walked back. We ate at Cosmic Rays. I got like a bacon cheddar tot. It was pretty good. Asher's chicken tenders were also really good, weren't they? They were delicious. After that, we went over to Speedway. We rode the cars. Asher, let me know about that experience.
So I gotta say real quick, even on that ride, road rage is still a real thing. Not trying to call anyone out here, but I got put behind a little kid who was about 4 years old and a grandma who was about 70 years old. And she let the kid drive. And at the beginning, there's nothing wrong with that until they don't go. They're just stopping in the middle. I'm bumping in. I'm not trying to bump into them. But and then halfway through, the kid gives up, and the grandma's on the other side trying to steer and press the pedal. And I'm going to be honest, the pedal isn't the easiest to press, so you got to put a little something into it. And neither of them had something to put into it. So I'm just stuck behind them. I'm raging at this point, just trying to find a way to get in front. There's no way to get in front. Keep bumping into them, trying to slam on my brake. But yeah, overall it was fun.
It was quite the experience. It's funny riding with your kids who can drive. I let him drive. He already can drive. He's 17, but it was fun. So after Speedway, at this point, there was no point in me getting any more lightning lanes because it was already, we had 3 rides with lightning lanes and the day was winding down to when we needed to leave. It was crazy crowded. Like the crowds were really high, in my opinion. And it was really, really hot. So we went over and did Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor. We had a lightning lane for this, which I felt like, oh, it's probably a big waste. But I actually really recommend getting a lightning lane for this because they put us in a separate line. The line to get in here was really, really large. Like it was very long. And what they do with the lightning lane is they take you to get in line to get into the theater first. So we were right at the door, like right there, right in front at the door. We were the first ones in the theater. We had really good seats. And I enjoyed this show so much more than I thought I was. What about you?
Yeah, the show is really funny how they like call people out in the crowd. I really like that.
Which was your favorite one they called out?
They kept messing with some old man in a yellow shirt, so that was funny. Poor guy though.
They kept...
Or the lady who had Botox who couldn't squinch her face when they told her to.
That was pretty funny. They went on this lady and they asked her to squinch her face up and she literally couldn't. That was funny. But the man in the banana or the yellow shirt that kept saying came dressed up as the banana. It was really fun. We loved it. Asher laughed so hard. After that, it was time for Tron and I was determined to get us in the front row because we had time. So we went over to Tron. Oh, I forgot to mention, I keep forgetting to mention things because we're going through pretty quickly. But our first park day when we had extended evening hours, we had a virtual queue for Tron for extended evening hours. We ended up not doing because we walked over there and the line was insane, like an hour long. So this was only going to be our second time riding Tron. So we get over there, we scan into our lightning lane, same type of thing. Oh, they did the pre-show this time, which I was actually glad because I wanted them to see it where you go stand in the room and they turn the light on and you get to see the ride. So that was cool. We walk back, we get in line, we waited about 10-15 minutes. We get to the front and I asked the lady, can we please have the first row? And she's like, how many? And I said 2. And she just sent us straight to the first row. So we didn't even have to wait an extra turn. Because typically, if you ask for a certain row, you have to wait until the next ride comes through. So that was really cool. Asher, which is better, first row or middle?
First row.
First row is amazing. Like it's so much fun. So which ride do you like better, Tron or Cosmic Rewind?
Cosmic Rewind just because of the music and the fact that it's longer and you like spin in circles almost. But I like Tron. It's probably my second favorite, which means Space Mountain's my third favorite.
So after this, all we had left was a Space Mountain lightning lane, but we had some time before that. So we decided to go do the Carousel of Progress. I love the Carousel of Progress. Asher just loves to sit down and do nothing. So we went over there. Were you awake the whole time or did you fall asleep?
I fell asleep for a little bit, but I woke up.
Did you enjoy the Carousel of Progress?
Absolutely loved it.
So after that, we went over and did Space Mountain. And again, I think we waited longer this time, but it was still pretty much a walk-on. Like the line was a 60-minute standby. We walked all the way to the back. I like how they, instead of merging the lines now, they just keep them completely separate. We were on a different side this time, so we had a different track, which was fun. And pretty much got right on. The funny thing about this time, though, when we rode it, is we rode with another guy, and his group was in front of us, and I told Asher, let's pretend we're asleep. So we pretended we were asleep, and then he pretended he was asleep, not knowing we were pretending we were asleep. And when we all went to look at the picture, his friends in his group were like, oh, they understood the assignment, which was kind of funny, because now we have a picture of all of us pretending we're asleep on Space Mountain. After this, it was time to go. It was around 2:30. Our flight didn't leave until 6, but I just it was hot. We weren't going to be standing in any more lines. We were tired. So we decided to head back to the resort. So we go out, We 100% were going to ride the monorail. But to our dismay, the monorail was shut down. It was not running at this time. So we went over to the boats and we saw that the boat line was incredibly long, like longer than it was when we had to wait 40 minutes for the boat. So we decided to walk. I was under the impression that you can walk to the Polynesian Resort. You cannot walk to the Polynesian Resort from Magic Kingdom. Walking from Magic Kingdom to the Grand Floridian, that is a beautiful walk. There's a sidewalk. It was easy to do, everything. So we get over to the Grand Floridian. I look over at the boat dock. The boat still hasn't come to Magic Kingdom, but I'm like, Asher, why don't we just go hop on the boat from here? He didn't want to. He wanted to keep walking. So we kept walking, and let's just say it was very sketchy. We were walking in grass on the side of a road that's under construction, past the new Polynesian building that's under construction, and this was not the smartest thing I've ever done at Disney. Absolutely not. But we made it back to the resort. We were like a sweaty ball of mess at this point. We go in. I went back to the gift shop and bought the sweater that I wanted. I went and bought a Dole Whip because you can get Dole Whips at the Polynesian just to cool down. Asher we got some drinks, and we just kind of sat in the lobby for a little bit and cooled down. This morning, at some point, we discovered that Asher lost his headphones. We don't know where. So I went and had done a Target pickup order to get him some new headphones so we'd have some headphones on the way back home. So we went to the car. We drove over to the Target, which is at the Flamingo Crossing area. I actually was glad I got to go over here because I book clients at these hotels. This is a great location if you want to stay offsite at Disney. It's just literally right outside the gates of Disney. So close, lots of restaurants, and then a nice little Target there. So we picked up the headphones and we headed home. A hurricane was coming in, so I was just praying that we could get on our flight and get home before the hurricane came. So we get to the airport. We dropped off the car, which was very easy. We get into the building. Since we only packed carry-ons, we didn't have to worry about checking bags. We walk over to security, and both Asher and I are astonished at the security line. Luckily, we have TSA pre-check, so we go and get in that line. We get through security. Well, we're getting through security, and I'm looking at my boarding pass at my gate that I'm at, and I'm looking up at the sign, and I don't see the gate number. That is when I realized we went through the wrong security. So Asher's bag gets flagged. We get stuck behind a family that like all their bags got flagged. And so one guy is just going through all of these bags. Finally gets to Asher's. What flagged your bag? Oh, a workout stick he has.
Yeah, so it was like a little rubber workout stick to help my wrist through it.
So that's when I asked him, where is this gate? And he's like, oh, you need to go through that security. And I kindly asked him, can you just walk us through that security? And he's like, no, you're going to have to go back through that security. But he did give us a tip and told us to keep this little rubber stick just out of Asher's bag and it should pass. So we go all the way over to the other security. The line wasn't that long. We get through pretty quick. We don't get any. Oh, Asher's other bag got flagged. So at this point, both of his bags have gotten flagged. We finally make it through security and make it to our gate. We get some food. And that is when we find out that our flight is delayed because of lightning. So we ended up being about an hour and a half delayed, but we finally made it home. Overall, we had a fantastic trip. I had so much fun going with Asher. He is my middle child. He is very funny and full of personality. Quite the Disney traveler. So, Asher, what was your least magical moment of the trip?
All the people there by far was my least magical moment.
My least magical moment was the transportation at the Polynesian. I was so disappointed at how bad the transportation was. I really thought it would be better. When I went in January and stayed at Riviera, I was astonished how great their transportation is. This transportation is awful. Like, it definitely, they need to fix it. Asher, what was your most magical moment?
Probably the pizza I ate.
Where did you eat the pizza again?
The Italian little pop-up
place in Epcot?
My most magical moment was watching the fireworks from the beach of the resort. That was so much fun. I've never done that before, and it was just absolutely fantastic. Asher, thank you for coming on the show with me today and sharing our trip tale, and thanks for going to Disney with me.
Yeah, of course, I had a lot of fun there.
That's a wrap on today's show. As always, thanks for listening. Make sure to visit us on Instagram at Disney Travel Tales. If you're wanting to support the show, the best and easiest way to do that is to leave a 5-star positive review on Apple Podcasts. It's so easy and means the world to me. Can't wait to be back next week with you. So until then, this is Jenny, and may all your Disney travel dreams come true.